Welcome back to Dive Twang. I'm Dave. We're going to kick off the new year today with some Going Down the Road Feelin' Bad. It's a traditional tune. It's got a great riff. A lot of jam bands cover it. It's a great one to know, man, if you're going to show up, at a jam session or, it's late night, pull out the guitars and, people know this song. It's a groover. It's a classic. We're not covering a certain band's version of it, per se. This is my take on it. I've heard a lot of bands cover this song. So the plan is to show you the chords. We're going to spend a little time on the rhythm part today, and then just some, basic framework of how you can kind of use the vocal line to start improvising over this and how the scales that I'm going to show you fit into that and stuff, right? Then I'll have a couple minutes of that loop. It's just like I forget what you call that, the wooden box, a cajon, and rhythm guitar on that loop, okay? So that will be at the end, a couple minutes of it for you to practice over. All right, so off we go. So let's look at our chords. Now, in that intro, I just kind of sketched over the chords. I didn't strum a lot. I kind of turned it down too when I mixed it, right? So it's E, and it's kind of a shuffle. A, back to E. A again. E, and then C sharp minor. Isn't that cool? It's the relative minor of E. There's a nice little approach to it, right? Then E, B, E for the turnaround. So there's a lot of chords in there that, go off to the side. And that's the first thing you want to do is just, don't worry about copying that rhythm, that you hear on the track exactly necessarily. You can start off just kind of, hitting each chord and memorizing where the changes are, right? So something like this. We'll wait for it to come around. B, then E, then from the top, E, A, E, A again, E, C sharp minor, E, B, E, other places. We got to choose our battles here, right? We're not going to be able to do a, rockabilly rhythm, lesson and this bass line, this feels like a bass line guitar riff and talk about scales and everything in a, 14-minute video. So here's the plan for today. Maybe we'll do a follow-up or something if everybody really likes this tune. Talk a little bit about the rhythm, then get into that kind of boogie woogie bass thing so you can have a real routine to just kind of go through it like that. And that's really going to set you up for, soloing and improvising over it, right? And then a little bit to close it off over, the particular scales that will work that you can just sort of plug into for this, right? So rhythm. It's definitely got a little bit of a train, a little chicken head thing going on, right? I tried slowing it down at different tempos when I was, producing this video, And if you slow it down too much, it just doesn't feel right. Okay. So, but to practice it, of course, we can slow it down. So if you hear that kind of bouncing back and forth on some of the chords, that's mainly what that is just hammering that third. You don't have to do all that at first, right? If you just want a good, straight up kind of right hand, chunking sound, just I like that. That doesn't sound like a kind of an abbreviated thing to me. I like that. You know, not as much of the jam band in there, right? That's not like kind of like a bobbied approach to playing rhythm. But if it was like a rockabilly version, or more of a country band kind of sound, yeah, it might just really lean into that working man's feel. So anything that works out for you there. The challenge for somebody's going to just be getting up to that C sharp minor and stuff and getting back in time. And here's a little tip. When you don't try to keep the same right hand thing going all the time in a tune when if the wheels feel like they're coming off. So let's say we're going. Do a little more of the train stuff on the E. See, that starts feeling more like a fish groove, right? Where some of the chords are just held, and there's a lot of beats taken out of the strumming, right? Right, I hit it too hard there, didn't I? A lot of different stuff you can do with this. So those are just ideas on that. Spend time on the rhythm on this because it's fun, right? And if you can get to where you can, get yourself or other people singing along with this is a great like party song. It's just it's a good time. So don't try to make it too complicated. So the boogie woogie bass thing is kind of the next essential thing about this tune, I think. Now, there are so many versions and ways that you can do this kind of lick, but the main frame of it is instead of sliding it all up like that, I like to hit a couple of individual notes here. Okay, see that? So I'm doing I'm hitting the minor third, but then the major third is there too. So it's really an E major sound. You can play E minor pentatonic licks in here, which I'll show you here right before I get you to the practice loop. And that's our last piece of this. But that main riff, I like to make sure you have that major third in there. Right? Just practice that. So I'm hammering. There, I picked them all. Still sounds cool, but it might be tough to keep up with that. And I like the feeling of the rolling feeling of the hammers. Because then when you do pick a note, it makes a real dynamic difference. Right, just with any kind of stuff using that style, right? So here's how you can map this out. Okay, that first E is longer. It's kind of like you're doing one and a half of it, right? You do just the first half of it the second time around. That makes sense. And just hold it if you want. You can go back down too. Just get those to where you can carry the tune in your mind and using those licks. Okay? So it's going to come out something like this once you get it going. Okay. So I put a couple little doodads in there at the end or whatever. But, you've got the main shapes there, and it's really like major pentatonic shapes. Now, sometimes I am going to that kind of flat 7 sound there. You can do it on either chord. If you were playing rhythm, just chord rhythm, that because it happens where that E is held longer the first time around like this. Right. And so it's like a little passing, note going from that E to that A. And that's cool. Probably do that, every time and emphasize it. But, that's kind of something that's there that you can do. Stick to the major pentatonic for the most part. And you can throw some minor pentatonic licks in there too, just some blues scale stuff here and there. Especially over the E and A parts. When you get to that C sharp minor, because we're going to start talking about the soloing over this now, you want to stick to that E major program because there's some notes in there that if you go try to get into that blues scale stuff down here, it's not going to sound pretty over that part of it. So when it goes up to that C sharp minor, we definitely want to adhere to the E major systems. So before we get to that, let's just talk about how you can really just take those bass lines and the stuff we've already done and just kind of convert it right on in over to more lead playing, right? And, going up to a higher octave. Okay, so there's a little bit of that more blues scale stuff in there. But here's the main map that you want to be into here is E major pentatonic. So I was kind of working it out there myself a little bit, something like this. Okay, so let's put the track on and kind of, don't have to go real fast. See what happens if we just use, that map. Part of me says, edit that out, man. Don't do that. Don't play that blues lick right there, But whatever, man. Try it, right? Well, after I tried it, I was like, that, I kind of just, like I kind of, somehow just, abandoned like everything else I was doing, and threw that in there. But I could kind of feel it coming too, like it almost kind of worked, but you'd have to polish that a little bit better. Um, but I did want to, you know, demonstrate that you can use some minor pentatonic stuff in there, but really stick to, see when we got to that C sharp minor and we were, that just sounds right as rain. So, and even though the track is upbeat like that, if you're making your own loop with your pedal or whatever, you slow it down. Don't try to play, 16th the whole time or whatever. You know, but get in there and really experience how that E major pentatonic feels over those chord changes, and you'll know it when it hits you. It feels good. Not a whole lot of lead demonstration on this today. We might do a follow up on this. Who knows? Do some more licks because really get into the rhythm, get that stuff down here worked out where you got a little bass line routine, and then you can think about the vocal line too as well. If you want to go back and listen to a cover of this song by the Dead, they would also be doing it in E every time, um, and kind of map it out like that. Going down the road, feeling bad. Going down the road, feeling bad. Going down the road, feeling bad. Ain't gonna be treated this way. So pick that stuff out and use that to help you jumpstart your soloing too. Don't have to be fancy. Okay, here are the bluegrass elements of that. Keep it simple at first. It'll work out. Have fun. Let me know how it goes. I'll talk to you next time.